Hey, welcome to my channel. I'm going to show you my Electric Blue Day Gecko setup. The Electric Blue Day Gecko is a dwarf day gecko, so they only get about 3 inches long from the nose to the tail. The males are 3 inches and the females are just a little bit shorter. The males are really bright blue and the females are more of a green, copper, kind of goldish color. I'll show you a picture of a male right now. So from birth to they are mature, they will all look like females, and then once they're mature, the males will start to get their blue coloring and the females will remain the same. So I'm getting 2 day geckos. They're not, well, one is pretty much mature and one is not. So the mature one is most likely a female and the other one, I'm not sure yet. Hopefully it's a male because that blue color would be really nice to have. It's too young to tell right now though, so we'll have to wait and see. So for their enclosure, I'm going to be using a 12 by 12 by 18 Exoterra, and when they're bigger I'll be moving them to something larger. They're actually quite similar to dart frogs. They like really high humidity. Their temperature is about around 21 to 26 Celsius, which is 75 to 80 Fahrenheit. And just like the dart frogs, they don't mind having kind of a drop during the nighttime. They like a warmer area for kind of basking, and that can be done by just putting a branch or something up top high, and then the bottom will naturally be lower. Temperature, I'm going to be using a 5.0 UV bulb, just similar to what I have for the dart frogs. For food, they eat pinhead crickets, and when they're older they can eat up to 2-week-old crickets, and the flightless fruit flies, so just the same as the dart frogs. And they like mashed up fruit, which is unlike the dart frogs. So you can buy like the little cans of baby food or just mash up, make kind of a puree of some sort of fruit. So I'm going to show you the enclosure that I made. I used styrofoam from Home Depot. This was an old piece that I had that I just used. I used toothpicks, an X-Acto knife, and I used scissors. First, I cut out different lengths of rectangles from the styrofoam board. Once they were cut out, I rounded the edges to make the straight cuts look more like rocks than just like rectangles. I then used the toothpicks to hold each piece together. I poked one end of the toothpick into one piece and the other end into another piece and stacked them on top of each other. I tried to create a sort of rock formation. was my end result. I used some of the scrap pieces to cover some of the toothpicks that were sticking out. I then transferred the styrofoam into the Enclosure tank and placed it tight up against the back. Next, I used cement that I bought from Home Depot. It was a powder that I mixed with water. I used an old brush to spread it onto the foam. This was a very long process, and it took a long time to cover all the cracks and to make sure that no foam was left showing. So this is the finished product. I used hydro balls in Eco Earth for the bottom. These are hydro balls that I got from IKEA. On top of them, I put a mesh screen, and then on top of the screen, I put the soil. Next, I put in the plants. I used some clippings from other tanks, so I used powder on the clippings to help them grow roots. Next, I put in the branches. After another mist, it's time to put the geckos in. Trouble trying to get the geckos into the tank. I kept kind of shaking the container trying to get them to fall out, and they wouldn't come out. The container was too big for me to just put it in the tank and let them crawl out on their own and then take the container out. So watch the clip and you'll see that there's the paper towel that was in the container to keep them moist. It falls out of the container, and one of the geckos, the female, the larger one, ends up escaping, running out of the Enclosure, and I didn't notice. You can see it if you look kind of in the bottom left corner of the enclosure. You can see it come out and then it just disappears. So I found out about 40 minutes after I thought I put them both in. After that 40 minutes, when I found it, I saw it just sitting on the outside of the the enclosure kind of right actually where it first escaped, so it stayed there or left and came back. I spent about 15 minutes trying to catch it. It ran up the walls, to the ceiling, down, just everywhere. I thought it was going to be nearly impossible, but I ended up catching it. I had to use a fish net. I ended up catching it, but its tail fell off. So the tail will grow back. I just feel terrible that it happened because their tails fall off when they're stressed, and it was stressful for me. It must have been 10 times more stressful for the gecko. So yeah, it was really hard to get them in there. They move super fast. I was also really worried about the dog and the cats. If they found the gecko first, I don't know what would have happened. But luckily, they're all safe.